Okay, good morning. Welcome to a morning review. This is Kim Watson speaking on Tuesday, the 17th of May. Okay, the euro dollar will start off with first as ever. And yesterday, well, the 50 daily 50 MA seems to be holding quite well here. We've seen a sort of a move off and it's held, and it looks at the moment there's short movement that we may still see a push up towards the weekly pivot. Price came just short of it yesterday. Well, today we may see a move towards that sort of area. It's not a million miles away from where we are. Just looking on this chart. Sorry, there we go. Yep. So it's shown on the bright green on this as the weekly pivot. I'm just looking. We just came within probably not many pips at all. 42, 45, 3 pips. But we've had the usual sort of Asian session-y market on the euro, and it's pretty choppy. Need to sit and wait a little bit with this. There wasn't a lot of movement yesterday, mainly because most of Europe was on holiday with Monday or whatever it is. Yeah, 39 pip, which is one of the lower sort of movements. Now the pivots obviously today are quite pinched. Today the daily pivots are pinched. We're all over the daily pivot at the moment. As I say, if we get a move up towards the upside, we'll have to look at this as we trade through the morning, how we enter this, because it's at the moment just doing a bullish engulfing on the previous candle, but we may get an entry back towards that weekly pivot, which in turn we may see a bit more of a continuation of this bounce. We just have to wait and see. If, however, it does start selling off quite strongly this morning, I will be looking along the trend lines that are sort of running across this sort of area, and looking at potential sell points back down towards Friday's lows there. Okay, that's the euro. Let's have a look at cable. So cable had quite a big move over the through the Asian session mainly, and seen a continuation that's just come back out to the dailies here, mainly due to the one of the polls showing a 55% poll towards the staying in Europe versus 40% or something exiting, and 5 still not knowing where they want to go. But that's obviously seen the big rally through the Asian session here, and we may see a continuation of that as we run through this morning. There's it's probably been one of the, as we move nearer the date, one of the most positive polls for a while, and obviously that's been reflected. From a trading perspective, it may have messed up the day a little bit. The pivots were pinched from yesterday. We're already into the R3 at the moment, into prior highs from Thursday. May just find a bit of resistance at these points, but there's a possibility we could break out the pivots today and push up further. Just need to see how the general markets move here, but to say it's relatively positive news. I mean, we've seen it at about midnight when the poll obviously was announced around about that time, and we've seen it since again with the London session. Traders starting to get into things and be trading. So, and probably the retail traders having a go at the moment. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with cable. Maybe a bit untradeable in some respects this morning. Dollar yen, well, yen's consolidated most of the last week. In the end, it had started weakening against the US dollar, and we've seen the US dollar pushing up here against the yen. May still want to come back towards that daily 50. It's difficult when it's consolidated as it has. We go through these large consolidation phases with the yen, and it's quite difficult to read at the moment. We've still got the weekly pivot untouched below, so there's a rather steep trend line. I'll show it probably easy on the hourlies here. There's a steep trend line that sits across here, which may well, if we saw some sort of break of that, well, we could be trading back and staying within the range, so it's a bit of range-based type trading. And there's a possibility that sort of could run down. I mean, even if it just runs down towards the S1, it's not massive points. Again, yesterday we didn't see, well, during the main session there, 57 pips. It's a relatively tight range it's been trading in. But from the Bank of Japan's point of view, they want to see it pushing up there, but at the moment, every time it starts pushing up, there seems to be some supply at the moment. As soon as that supply starts disappearing and there's more demand, we could see a more sustained move in that direction. But for now, well, so just it's a bit of a waiting game to see how it rolls out this morning. It's not one of my favourite currencies to be trading at the moment, so not much else to say on that one. Aussie dollar. Well, the Aussie dollar saw some light last night after this. I mean, it's one of the weakest pairs against the dollar up until now, but apparently the minutes released were relatively positive, and we've since seen a rally. They were more sitting on the fence than expected. There was expectation from some analysts suggesting there'd be further rate cuts, but it looks like the voting in favour of the rate cut was more close than originally thought. So this may have some more oomph as we run through this morning as more traders catch on to this. But before we go to say European traders are already probably into it, and London traders will be coming in as well on this. So, well, if we can get a shove more up, we maybe get back towards that monthly S1 sort of area. Just looking at 60 minutes, I mean, it was quite a surge it had. It's already in a sort of in a sense in an overbought sort of area, but perhaps with this little consolidation, it may push up even further yet. Okay, and finally, the Canadian dollar has come back out and look at what's going on here. From this time in this time frame, and again there was some strengthening of the Canadian dollar effectively against the US dollar here, and moved down yesterday. And largely this is once we put the overlay oil onto here, and you can see why oil was shoving up quite strongly yesterday, and is again this morning, and we've as it does so, Canadian dollars benefiting to the downside effectively. Now, quite difficult one here. So there's some classic technical moves within this market, and consolidation, and then a step down again, some more consolidation, step down. Still got some potential for it to push on back to the sort of lows it was last Thursday's lows, and it could push on through if oil carries on pushing up towards the $50 barrel. Let's just look at oil specifically here, and with that for a moment, and you can see it's pushing up close. It's not far from the $50 sort of zone, and as it does so, the Canadian dollar will strengthen against the US dollar, so we'll see further continuation on the CAD there. So at the moment, when you overlay this, you can see the correlation very tight, and it's moving down, so any continuation of that will see the CAD coming down. Rather difficult to trade sometimes when it's already had such a big move, just a bit like the pound, to an extent the Aussie. Okay, that's pretty much it from me today. News-wise, there's not a lot of significance until 9:30. Actually, we've got inflation figures on the UK at 9:30, which may give us a decent move. Then at 1:30 we've got the US the building permits and inflation. I'm more interested in inflation than the building permits. Manufacturing sales for the Canadian dollar at 1:30 as well, so just watching for that. But with all that news coming out, if you're trying to trade the Canadian dollar with the US news coming out at the same time, it makes it pretty difficult, as the pair can get quite choppy, and that's just about it for the day. So not a lot of news, but hopefully enough to give us a bit of a kicker one way or the other. The big figure this morning will be looking at the inflation numbers coming out at 9:30 for the UK. Okay, that's it for me. Have a great one. Bye for now.